guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is gonna be a little bit of a plain Jane day because I'm just going out for groceries. I'm gonna do a little bit of errands, so I'm gonna do makeup 101 for you guys. First, I wanna just clip back this hair. Get that out of the way. Go. So that's out the way. Today what we're going to be doing is a liquid foundation versus powder foundation challenge. So I use Makeup Forever, as you guys know. And this is the liquid and this is the powder. I'm going to do half my face in liquid and half my face in powder foundation. I'm gonna set both with a translucent powder because I just want to see how it lasts throughout the day. And I'm gonna be using this one, which is the Chanel Universal Loose Powder in Translucent 2 or Natural 30. That's what I usually use. What I did before doing my primer is that I used the Noxzema Clean and Clear, and then after that what I did was I used a little micellar water, the Garnier Skin Active makeup removing wipes just to get all the dirt and debris off, and then I used the L'Oreal Hydrogenius normal to dry skin moisturizer. I use this also on the regular. And now we are going to prime the face. Smashbox is the primer for today. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about how I decided to up my makeup game. I used to be one of those people who didn't know much about makeup, honestly. Until I was in college, I didn't do a lot of makeup. The most that I did was probably put down a powder foundation, and that too, I didn't have any primer. I didn't know the basics, and so my go-to was, I believe at that time when I was in high school, was CoverGirl, and it used to be like the pressed foundations. And what's really funny about that is the only time I wore a heavy amount of makeup is if I was doing Indian classical dance, which is Bharatanatyam. And I used to do that for a long time, and that was the only time that I actually had a liquid foundation. And what's really hilarious about that is when you're on stage and when you're doing Bharatanatyam, they require you to wear a foundation that is not your shade match, okay? It's like white, right? It's like not at all for colored people kind of thing. It doesn't have any undertones, it doesn't have any, I mean, they don't like shade match you to do like dancing or whatever. It's basically the lightest foundation that you can find, and you just smother it on you, and so when you sweat and things like that, it doesn't look too bad. That's basically dance foundation, right? It's not your shade. And that is what I used to wear to high school, right? It wasn't my shade at all. I mean, it had a little bit of brown pigmentation to it, but it was not my shade. If you want to find your shade and range and what makeup is good for you or what foundation is good for you, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. So do a little bit of research before you head off to find your brand or to find your color or to find your range. The first thing is, what kind of skin type do you have? So you can have oily skin type, you can have dry skin type, or you can have a combination of oily and dry skin type. research online because I was new to the whole process of makeup and foundation, and I went with I believe an online website, because at that time a lot of brands didn't have the shade match, but nowadays they do. So if you go to Makeup Forever, if you go to Sephora, if you go to Fenty, if you go to Juvia's Place, they have shade matching like finders. That's one thing that you need to take into consideration. The second thing you need to take into consideration is your undertone. So there are several types of undertones for everyone. You can go from a cool undertone to a warm undertone to a neutral undertone. I know there is now 2 other undertones that people consider is olive undertones and peach undertones. Look into what kind of undertone you have, and I have a warm undertone. How I know that is because gold jewelry usually makes me look better. Another way that you can find your undertone is by looking at your veins, right? And mine's not very visible right now, but if you look at your veins, you will see that mine, because of the green background, it's going to be hard to see, but you will see that mine have a greenish tinge to it. And that means, again, warm undertones. Cool undertones have a bluish tinge. So what I suggest if you're a newcomer or a beginner is that you go to a counter. It can be at Macy's, it can be at Ulta, it can be at Sephora, and you ask professionals, because you'll need them, that you just, can you help me find my shade range? I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. So let's just get started. So this is the Makeup Forever HD foundation, the liquid foundation. There's 30 ml or 1.01 fluid ounces. It's a really good amount of liquid in here, and it will last you quite a while. Now my shade is Y435. Y435 is my shade. And if you've used Makeup Forever previously, they used to brand it as something else, and my color was caramel. Now they changed I guess the names on them, and now they have Y and R as the beginning of the shade range. The next one is this one, and it's the Matte Velvet Skin Pressed Powder, and it says it lasts for around 12 hours. It's 11 grams and 0.38 ounces. So this is what the powder looks like, and this is what the liquid looks like. And I like that it's a clear tube, so that you can see how much product is left and also what color you have. And I know it looks super light inside the bottle, but they do oxidize, so it will change colors throughout the day because the oil of the skin and the air and the room temperature, whatever it is, it will oxidize and it will go a little bit darker. This comes with its own mirror, and that's very handy if you're on the go. I wanted to use this as like a touch-up throughout the day, but I have found that if I put liquid foundation and then I put my powder and then I touch up, it becomes a little bit cakey. If you saw my previous video, you guys will see that I do look a little bit cakey, and that's because I tried to use the pressed foundation and I realized that it probably won't work instead of my Chanel. So this is the applicator. It's just a sponge applicator, very soft. And I'm just gonna go in, take a swipe, right? One or two swipes, deposit a good amount of pigment. And then I'm gonna as you can see, it did deposit some pigment in there. And since I said I'm going to do half of my face, I'm just going to go right down the middle. So right away I can tell that this will not be so great for my dry skin. I mean, I have a combination of skin. My T-zone gets really oily and the rest of my face gets really dry, depending on the season as well. It is very smooth application. I can't say anything about the application. It looks, I mean, it's very smooth. It feels nice. And that might be because of the sponge also, but it feels nice. This is my skin without the pressed powder, and this is my skin with the pressed powder. And you can tell that there is a difference for sure. And this pressed powder is in the color R370. And I know that seems weird because R is supposed to be for cool tones. When I did my matching at Sephora online, it did recommend this powder to me when I said that I use my Makeup Forever HD in, you know, my color caramel. So this is what they recommended, and I decided to just go with that. And so it looks good. Let's do one more coating. So it's not as easy to apply as a liquid foundation. I will give you that much, because although it feels nice, the sponge is so tiny, so I don't like the application process of the pressed powder. But it feels like there's nothing on your skin, and that's nice. It doesn't feel as heavy as a liquid foundation. You can already tell that it got rid of a little bit of my shine, right? So this is my natural oily shine, and you can see here that that oil is gone. Right? Okay. And then we're gonna go in with my liquid foundation. And just one pump goes a long way. I will need the mirror for this one. Another difference that I found is that the pressed powder doesn't get into this red nasally area, and you can see that it looks a little bit dry because of the powder. However, this one, I can get in there with my brush and the redness goes away. You can see definitely a color difference also between the pressed powder and liquid powder. It's giving me a little more coverage on the liquid side, and this one looks like a natural finish, but this one gives me a little bit more radiant color. I still don't have my beauty blender, so I got this dupe from the store, and I'm just gonna set that, because I don't want, you can see there's a clear demarcation, and I kind of want it to blend a little bit more. Even though one side is pressed foundation, one side is liquid, I still want it to blend so that it doesn't look so odd when I go out. That seems to look pretty even. Now you don't see that demarcation. You can definitely tell a difference. This side is a little bit lighter and this side is a little bit darker. And that's okay. The last thing I'm gonna do is just take some of that Chanel powder. A little bit of powder goes a long way. And I'm just gonna set this side first. And now, because I put the pressed powder, both sides seem to look more even. And I'm also going to put the powder on the other side, although I know that it's a pressed powder already and it doesn't need another thing, but just to make it look kind of even, we're going to go do that on the other side as well. So right now the time is 9:30 a.m. Hopefully it won't look too oily. I'm not going to touch up throughout the day. I'm just going to leave it as is and see how the foundation does. So let me go put a little bit of eyeliner, a little bit of lipstick, and I will be back. So this is going to be the final look, you guys. Like I said, a little bit powdery, but throughout the day it's going to oxidize, it's gonna look better. I'm gonna go do some errands, I'm gonna go do some grocery shopping. What else? Take care of my kid, because that's what I do throughout the day. I'm gonna run after her, so I'm gonna get sweaty and nasty. And it's gonna be no touch-ups. I'm not gonna do any touch-ups. If you guys remember, so the right side is gonna be my liquid and the left side is gonna be my powder. Here is the powder side, here's the liquid side, and this is my face in the middle. I'm gonna come back and show you guys before bedtime, I guess. And if you're wondering about the lipstick, it's Revlon's Color Stay Liquid Lipstick, and I'll show you guys how the lipstick also stays out throughout the day. And this is a little bit drying because it is a liquid lipstick. It is a little bit matte. So it's a little drying, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm just gonna take out the hair clips. And I will be back to show you guys later how the foundation turned out and if I get oily, if I recommend the powder, because I definitely recommend the liquid. That's just my go-to everyday, but we'll see if the powder works for me too. Alright, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, just a quick check-in. It is now 6:15 p.m. where I am, and we're gonna be going for a quick run to the grocery store. The temperature is gone down a little bit, and I was looking forward to that because I'm taking, you know, hot car, and I don't want this whole thing to melt out off. And you can see that my nose has become a little bit oily, more on this side where I didn't really have much powder in that area, and still okay, still pretty matte actually, which is why I like this foundation. But both sides seem to be looking even, not too bad, and we're gonna be heading out. So I think I'm gonna stop the challenge here at 7:20 p.m. because right after I run errands, especially during this epidemic, I like to take a shower right after I come back from grocery shopping and all that, because I don't want any infections for my child or for my family. And so I'm just gonna take a shower and wipe off all the makeup. It's very hot outside, so I am expecting to be like a little bit oily and greasy, and I feel sticky and kind of nasty, and especially because I've been wearing the mask, and so that also causes a lot of sweat and grease to collect in that kind of area. So you can see I'm a little bit sweaty and greasy right now. thanks for watching. I will see you for the next video. Please like and subscribe and share. All right, bye peeps.